thinking whether that was bona fide or not to do like that.
Huh?
I was second had a question in my mind whether it's bona fide to do like that.
Of course. Just get rid of it. You're supposed to listen to the holy name and not... Because, the idea comes back again, okay? Next round you chant and then it comes again. Today you have to do this. Just, and actually I don't have a notebook for this. I have a dictaphone. If something pops up like this in the mind, you just speak it in a dictaphone, forget it immediately. And then, when you have the rounds chanted, then you can go back and you can play it, and then you have your schedule for the day. At least I found it. This is actually a habit from manager days, because, this is a joke what we are doing here, but when you have a temple I have in Stockholm with 40 devotees in the restaurant and construction site, monumental construction site. You renovate for 1.5 years, 12 apartment building from the scratch. And then it's all coming on your plate every day. And I was not even constructing myself. Just on a construction site, there were 12 devotees who actually followed zero sadhana. I don't know if they chanted for 1.5 years, 16 hours. I didn't check on this. They all came from Yugoslavia. But they worked like nuts. The only thing they want is pizza and ice cream. That was my service. To keep that crew going was pizza and ice cream. That was a condition. Daily.
Wow.
But we had a restaurant, so we had a huge ice cream bar, So that was not a big thing. But, and there's so many idiotic things coming in your mind all the time, small things. You just write it down and then talk it on some dictaphone and forget it. Because ultimately we want to have a simple...
I would try to sort out the situation.
Huh?
I would try to sort out the situation.
Well, it's late anyway.
Yeah, or from Prabhupada, you have to give some instructions. I think so. So come from Lalita, not from
Well, you can mention it, but it's anyway, the show is over.
I know, but somebody has to undress them and put them to rest,
That's the point.
So I have to arrange that.
Yes, that's the point. So, yeah. As long as we are somewhat in a tune with preaching, then it's... I had the luxury that I never was preaching from a temple which had even that kind of standard of puja. I would call it a luxury. Because Bhavin, me and Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj, and we had our program, yes. We had our program, but we had just a Panchatattva. That's Prabhupada said, Guru Gauranga, Panchatattva picture.
Rangi Gopal Prabhu had called like a week ago or 10 days ago like that. Rangi Gopal Prabhu, he called me from Orlando. They also have no, actually temple room, he said, is not bigger than our temple room.
It's Trivikram Maharaj, isn't it?
Yeah, but he lives also outside. He has a place outside, doesn't live in the temple, just 4 brahmacharis.
Yeah.
And he just got one Indian Gujarati guy from India. They were also paying a mortgage, they pay to the bank, but now it was this closing time, like in 6 months they had to pay, what was it, like something $300,000. And if they fail to pay that, then the bank will take the whole property.
Ooh, dangerous deals.
But they had the money. They had the money, they had a good chunk, like 75% or something of the money they already had. The remaining, the Maharaj never asked the Indians really so much. So there was a big, Orlando has what? He said 10,000 Indians. Something. So many were Gujaratis and there were also Indian temples there. So they got this Gujarati Maharaj now, so that he could preach to the local Gujaratis there and get money, collect like that. But they have a huge land. They have like our garden here. He said like 4 times bigger garden, just where the temple is situated. So his service was just to make the garden, Maharaj had heard that he was making garden in Poland like that, so he worked like 12-15 hours a day. And,
you see, this is like, but this is still a garden problem, okay? But my God, if I would bring one flower pot Krishna Maharaj, he will throw me out on the flower pot too. So we didn't have even that, we had nothing. This is the beat bank, chanting, and me going out. I was the economist, okay. I had to collect for the rent. Plus I had to collect for Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj's child. But he was not a Swami yet, he was a brahmachari. That was, I don't want to story to it. It was from his very early days, when somebody recommended to him to become a grihastha. There was immediate a child, and the wife of the child left Krishna consciousness immediately. That's how he became a happy brahmachari. It was so innocently done and so inexperienced. He did it under recommendation, you know. He was not falling in love or chasing ladies. It was Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj. He never did such a thing. But it was like, Krishna, yes! He told me, I never saw my wife in sari. She had always only blue jeans and she was going to the movies all the time. That was the early attempts to establish some grihastha. So that kid was not 18 yet, and he had to pay by it. But he was preaching, but I was collecting. It was the whole thing. So I was the economist. I was running around distributing LPs or some books or something like this. Because we didn't have any very powerful, congregation, nothing like this. But it was slowly building up. Even today, when I go to Germany, I meet some of the old guys from Berlin. They remember me still there. There are some of them, they are really stuck to Krishna consciousness. Even they never made it in a temple, or they never lived in a temple. But Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj was very focused on brahmacharis and creating bhaktis. That was his focus. Congregation was okay, you know. I remember one of our biggest supporters was a guy who was living from making babies. He had also like something like 10 children, I don't know why. And he lived from that. From the money you get, children support. He had an old Volkswagen bus which he regularly borrowed for, because he had no even car. So he regularly borrowed that, and that car was serving for various preaching programs in a city. When we had to transport something, it was a Volkswagen, old Volkswagen. Otherwise, the rest of the day, he was just chanting Hare Krishna, and he was sitting in a forest, which was at the edge of the city of Berlin, with the binoculars watching birds. That was his most favorite activity. And making babies. So that kind of guys we had around, That was one of the most prominent congregational members. Berlin was so crazy, you cannot imagine. But there was not this aggressiveness, and it was not so spooky. It was not so dull. It was creatively crazy. There was punks. The Sunday feast was a blend from punks, homosexuals, desperate lonely women, and always some kind of interesting young boys who registered themselves in Berlin, because Berlin had one status. Whoever is registered in Berlin as a young man has his address in Berlin, and let's say he studies in Berlin, he doesn't have to go to the military. And therefore there were so many kids from all over the Germany. Whoever didn't want to go to the military registered himself in Berlin, and he studied some nonsense or whatever. And studying, it was just to get the money. So you register yourself in some school, university, and you get support from the government, plus you have an address in Berlin and you don't go to military. And there was a heavy also terroristic scene was there. The whole part of Berlin, police couldn't enter. Police came in, we were just at the edge of it with our temple, called Kreuzberg. And every weekend there was demonstrations. Something. Smashing windows, smashing this. But we were never involved in this. But every morning Monday morning I walked out of the temple and there was on a crossing was a turned out upside police car burned out. They put some fire on a police car. It was a little bit like this behind style. To be a policeman and enter that part of Berlin, danger second.
It's sometimes since they last burned cars.
When a policeman came to a house which was occupied by these young people, we just took over empty houses. As soon as the house was empty, the young people took it over. The police came and he knocked on the door. There was a whole shower of stones came down. It was the German punks. They were very well organized. So that was the atmosphere we preached in. It was violent. It was completely crazy, the whole thing. But people were desperate. And that was the real thing. And this is what you find here in Scandinavia most days. That people don't feel so desperate. They feel kind of taken care of. And when you give that kind of feeling to a Shudra, he will not move 1 inch. Because Shudra, he functions only under the impact of pain. There's only one preaching to a Shudra, just. And that material nature will do eventually. But it's not coming yet, that kind of vividly. But don't worry, when it comes, they will come around. They will ask. It hurts. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then you can preach. Unfortunately, most of the people function like this. If they are not in pain, they will not listen. Because when this person is intelligent, he doesn't need pain to inspire him to listen, he simply appreciates the knowledge. But very often in people's lives there is a certain constellation of painful circumstances which inspires them to become Krishna conscious. Unfortunately it has to be that way. Those devotees I joined with, they were actually, Prabhupada gave even as an example, he said, none of my disciples was really in a painful condition, materially spoke. He said they were sons of rich parents, well-to-do, citizens of the most rich and well-to-do nation in the whole world. So how come they become hippies? That comes from previous lifetimes. That despite all the material satisfaction and facilities you have, you experience such a pain. It's still pain, but it's a pain of frustrations which accumulates throughout the lifetimes, which ultimately brings you to Krishna consciousness.
In that connection and about sitting and making Kulikov, I picked up one inspiration from Narayani Mataji while she was here. She mentioned, I don't know from where it was, but there was a class of Gurukulis, I think consisting of 20 devotee children, and they got this regression therapy made, where they put them in hypnosis, track them back to a last lifetime to find out how they became devotees. And she says 9 out of 20, they were prasadam cases. They got prasadam in last lifetime, and then they took devotee from them. So it's kind of, this is for a whole school almost. So you have to see, you have to see a little bit like oh, how many are joining on vegetarian Saturday? No, it's just happening, that's all. It's like, you distribute not only the medicine, you could call it the vaccination. Prabhupada called it vaccination. Vaccination against Maya. Like when you are vaccinated, you don't know how it works, but the result is that you don't get sick. So you develop an immune system against Maya. In other words, you create a higher taste. And when there's a higher taste, that only then they will be naturally not inclined to go for the lower taste. In essence, it works like that. Here Prabhupada had this legitimate question to his devotees, are you happy? Because he knew when they are not happy, then what do they want to preach? What? People will not be able to match it, This is this books, this is the knowledge, and then it is the miserable devotees. Oh. How does that fit together? But we can also explain that we are not that kind of Mayavadi happiness,
this. We explained that yes, we are also miserable sometimes, certainly, but positively miserable. That makes us happy. You know, we know the function of misery, and therefore we know, yes, now misery is coming, and therefore I become more Krishna conscious. As soon as you think like this, you become more happy. Japadaka Maharaj described that pretty drastic story. He was preaching in some Indian village, you know, and then all the Indians came, and there was all this, you know, they were all like. And then after the program, he heard some screaming and there was some commotion in the village. And he knew one particular Mataji was specially inclined to Krishna consciousness. He was revisiting that village. And there was a commotion, and I remember the story, he described it like that. Then he asked, what happened? What happened? And they said, well, you know this Mataji? Yes. She's very nice, she's inspiring her people to chant Hare Krishna. So her child just fell in a well and drowned. Small girl. Just fell into the well and drowned. It happened just 1 hour ago. Then he said, oh, I have to speak to the Mataji. She must be completely upset. Yes, she was upset. And then she came. And she looked quite normal. He was a little like, what is this? He said, I heard the news about your child. You just died, drowned in a well. And she was sad. But she said, Krishna is giving, Krishna is taking. He said, I was impressed. I was impressed. So there is a pain, but we take it in a Krishna consciousness. I was just, he was very impressed. I remember when he told that story, he said, Mataji, this is terrible. And she said, Krishna gives, Krishna takes. Finished. That we meet only in India. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Something happened there? Someone put the deals to rest?
Yeah, Leslie not spoke to a Moglik. I think a Moglik will take care of it. So, yeah.
Sounds like a shower now.
Huh?
He's showering now, it seems.
Okay.
You hear that sound is water.
Oh, you see, they already know that they're knowledgeable. I'm also down there. I know exactly who's in the kitchen. Because the art of banging is different. Every person produces a different kind of banging. You know who's banging least? Jai.
Jai!
He is really Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
He is really very gentle with the saint.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I know who's banging. It's part of the whole thing. That's heavy when you are 15 years temple president in one place. The sound of sewage running down the pipe is like it's running through veins. You know, you become completely tuned into the place. Because Hare Krishna gave me one instruction as to him, he said, you don't go anywhere, you die here. It made quite simple actually. I thought like this. Well, Krishna obviously had a different plan, but I was actually thinking, yeah, it's a good place to die. I will die for If you think like this, suddenly things become so easy. There's no way of going here, going there. I didn't even plan to go to India, nothing. It just happened, yeah. I ended up also going to India. You don't plan, really. So I just said, okay, this is the place. And the real trouble, if you work in a place over long term like this, that it becomes routines. You know, and routine is something which brings a little bit Mayavada also coming in, like this. You just do things. And this is sometimes also a challenge. One should not do things that mechanically. One should see it connected to Krishna. One should see it as a personal service to Krishna. That's a challenge when you work over longer periods, 10 years, 15 years, you're in the same place, in the same thing. I heard it happens even to pujaris. Even if they have such a personal contact to Krishna, but still it can happen. Because it's also full of this kind of routines and you do things. Same day, every day. preaching is good, because preaching is always contradicting the routines, because each single person you encounter is different. So you cannot in a routine way preach. You can do that, but it's not going to have any impact whatsoever. It's very personal. Okay, anyway. So I will tomorrow try to save my energy to, if the weather is like this, it's shaping up. I still have some obligation with the neighbors here to start to become friends, but I will be 12 o'clock.